What's up YouTube, it's JackalGoldKick. So in this video, I want to talk about my struggle with OCD perfectionism. This is something I want to vent about. This is something that I struggle with, and it affects me in some ways, especially with video games. And it makes it to where I can't play video games the same anymore. And I want to vent about it because it's something I struggle with. So I have OCD perfectionism, and it's mainly a problem with video games. Let me try to explain what I basically have with video games. I don't know when this started, but if I had to think, I think this started somewhere around, I want to say maybe 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. I started to notice this back in the day when I tried out the Splinter Cell games and I was playing the Evil Within 2 and Gears 5, where I felt like I needed to start examining every area perfectly. Like every area I had to examine completely. Like I know some people do check out areas in games, that's a normal thing to, check an area out to make sure you get everything. But I would overly check out areas where let's say there's a room with a wall. I would have to walk around the room just looking at the wall. Then I would have to do it the other way around. Then I would have to walk. I'd have to walk on every, I'd have to check out the entire area. And Splinter Cell, and fucking Evil Within 2, I'd have to over-examine and over-explore areas. It was ridiculous. And with like Splinter Cell, every encounter had to be stealth, because if there was one mess up, I had to do the whole thing over, And it's getting even worse now, especially with this other stuff that's going on. So yeah, I would say the OCD perfectionism, I can't really have a good time frame of where it started, but I think it started in the late 2010s with games like Splinter Cell and Evil Within 2. That's where it started, where I just really started to, everything had to be perfect. Checking out certain areas. Also, I had to start reading everything in the game, even the fucking main menu, where not only did I start to over-examine areas and, walk through areas and check out areas multiple times, way too many times, until it felt just right, until it felt perfect and complete. I also had to read menus, and I had to click on the options. I had to click on everything in the menu and read it from top to bottom. Even like where it says X button, you can do this, or circle button, do that. I had to read those. It's like, what the fuck, man? I didn't do that back in the day. Back in the day when I played games, I just played a game. I put the fucking game in, and I played the damn thing. Yeah, maybe I explored areas, but back in the day, man, I could play games normally. I could just play it and enjoy it. These days, it's way weird. It's way too annoying and weird now when I play video games, because it's just this OCD perfectionism that happens, And it started with Splinter Cell and Evil Within 2 with, overly checking out areas and, like I said, reading stuff in the menu. So it started in the late 2010s, and it's gotten really bad, especially now, where, I started to really get into getting platinum trophies. I started with Revelations 2 in like late 2017, and I really started to get into platinum trophies. And, the more my OCD perfectionism grew, and the worse it got, I looked at my main account and I was like, man, I don't like the fact that I have some games with platinums and some games where I don't have platinum trophies. That really bothered me. So I got into this weird cycle where I was like, all right, here's what I'll do. I'll make a new account and I'll start over. That way I can play the games I like, only having the trophy list. And the games I don't like, I can just play in a different account. That way I can just have a trophy list where it's perfect and there's no games I don't like that'll be stuck on there. And I never reached that goal, no matter how many times I tried. I've been stuck in this ridiculous cycle over and over again, whether it's PlayStation 4, whether it's Xbox 360. I've been stuck in this fucking loop over and over again of constantly making a new account and restarting over and over and over again. And it's just never good enough, and I'm never satisfied with it. And so many stupid things will happen on why I'll abandon an account. Like, I'll make a new account, and then I'll abandon it and delete it and start over because I don't like the name, or because I was away from the game for too long. That's literally one thing that happened with the OCD perfectionism. And it's dangerous too, because it wastes time. Like, when I was revisiting Dynasty Warrior 6, I revisited that game on the Xbox 360, and when I revisited it, I beat it, I played it on a new account, and I made so much progress. I maxed out all the characters, beat all the story modes. I was getting pretty close to getting the chaos campaigns done. Around that time, though, something bad happened. I had like an ear infection, so I couldn't hear that well, and I just didn't want to play the game because usually I could use headphones when I play the game. And I had to take a break from it to get, to heal from the ear infection, and I also had a cold at the time, and I was eventually able to get through that, and I was able to go back to Dynasty Warriors 6. I played it a little bit, then I dropped it, and my OCD perfectionism brain basically told me, well, you were away from the, like, this is fucking stupid. You were away from the game for too long. Now it's tainted. Now it's not right. It's incomplete. You have to abandon it. And I fucking abandoned it and deleted the account, all because I was away from the game and away from the account for too long. Even though I made all that progress, I just threw it away because it didn't feel right and it was incomplete. And it's just been driving me crazy because I've been stuck in this constant loop and cycle of making new accounts constantly, never being happy. Another thing with my OCD perfectionism, with building a new account and trophies, the games have to be in order now. Like, to the point where if I'm going to start a new account, I have to play games in order. Dead Rising 1 has to be first in the trophy list, then DR2, then Off the Record, then DR4, then Dynasty Warriors 8, the Prototype 1, the Prototype 2, Resident Evil 1, 2, it has to be in order. Because if it isn't, that's also incomplete and not right and not perfect, and that will also be tainted and also bother me. That's another thing. So it's having to have a perfect new account, having to have the games in order in the trophy list, having to have a perfect platinum list where it's only games I like on there. It cannot be any games on there that I don't like. Having to, like I said, have a perfect account, having to read everything in the main menu, in all menus of a video game, so it feels just right, so it feels perfect and complete. Because if I don't make a new account perfectly, and I don't play games in the order I was talking about, and I don't read everything in a menu, where I don't check out every single area and all the stuff I'm mentioning, then it'll bother me. It'll feel incomplete. It'll feel tainted. And I'll have to just start over. And in general, it's just been a struggle. And that's been my struggle with OCD perfectionism that I wanted to talk about in this video, because it's something that's really bothered me. Like, I know I did that one video a few days ago where I showed that I recently got Resident Evil 3 Remake. I haven't even played that game yet. And a lot of that is because of my OCD perfectionism. Because I'm like, well, I want to make a new account and I want to play games in order, and then I'll get to RE3 Remake. But I haven't done it yet because it's like, there's certain games in my collection that I don't know if I like anymore. So it's like, if I get to them, I'm going to have to play them on a different account before playing them on the new account. But then my OCD perfectionism brain tells me, well, if you play, like, let's say I started a new account and went this way. If I got past Resident Evil 3 Remake and past Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5 and 6, I'm conflicted on those games. Like, I think I don't like them anymore, but I don't know. And it's like, if I got to those games, right? If I got to those two fucking games, it's like, well, if you play if you play RE4, and then before you play 5 and 6 on a new account, test the games on another account and see if they hold up. But for some reason, my OCD perfectionist brain tells me, well, you're leaving that account, so you're staying away from it for a little bit too long. So that's not perfect. You should play it on your new account so it's it's a fucking mess. It's a train wreck, and I'm tired of it. I can't like I would say other things in life don't get affected as much with OCD perfectionism. This mostly affects video games. Like, it can affect other things here and there, maybe like checking the oven a few times to make sure everything is off, checking to see if the door is locked. But it's especially a problem with video games, and it's a real problem, man. The reason I don't play video games as much as I used to is really because of my OCD perfectionism. Because I'm just tired of being stuck in this cycle, in this loop of having to have the perfect new account, have to have the perfect gamer tag. The games have to be played in order of the trophy list. I have to read everything in all menus until it feels just right. I have to check out every single area until it feels just right. It was fucking ridiculous. Even with Resident Evil 2 Remake, I had to read every single item in the fucking menu. I had to even read everything on the ammo boxes. I had to read the front of it, the back of it. I had to look at the top of it, the bottom of it, the left. Basically, everything had to be examined. I had to examine areas ridiculously over the top. It's a fucking nightmare. So yeah, this is just a video I wanted to make about the OCD perfectionism I've been struggling with. Like I said, this has mostly been a problem with video games. I don't know how I'm going to combat this. Maybe I could do exposure response therapy. I mean, an idea I kind of have is I was thinking about, like, I still want to start a new account. What I was thinking about doing is starting a new account, but playing games out of order. Like, I'll start a new account and then start with Resident Evil 3 Remake, platinum that game, and then if I want to play other games, just kind of do it out of order and set with that uncertainty and try to get used to that, because this is something I've gotten used to in terms of the OCD perfectionism in the first place. I got used to reading everything in the menu until it feels just right, examining all the areas over and over and over again until it feels just right. You know, all this stuff I've built and grown to, if that makes sense, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to vent about my OCD perfectionism, mostly a problem with gaming. I hate it. I really hate it. The need to be perfect with the account, with the gamer tag, with playing a game, with everything has to be perfect in a fucking video game. You know, I have to examine all the areas. I have to read everything in the fucking menus. And the games have to be in order on a trophy list or it won't be perfect. I have to read everything in the menu or it won't feel right. I have to examine everything in all the areas or it won't feel right. It was even bad with certain games with just walking. Like when I would, like with Evil Within 2, let me give you an example of what I used to fucking do. Like with the Evil Within 2, let's say there's a big ass road in one of the areas. I would have to, alright, here's how bad this was. With one of the roads in the Evil Within 2, like to overexplore the areas, let's say there's a big ass road in a fucking town or a city, I would have to go to the left side of the road where it's like a cement block, you know, like a cement, you know how roads have a middle and then cement areas? Well, the left side of the road, I would have to just walk down in a singular path. And then once I get to the end, I'd have to turn around and do it again this way. And then I'd have to do it this way in the middle of the road. And then I have to go backwards in the middle of the road. And then I have to do it on the right side of the road, forward, and then backwards, right side of the road, to fully make sure that I perfectly search the road and to make sure it feels right. That's an example of that fucking madness. And it's just something I wanted to vent about because it's a real problem, you know. Yeah, my struggle with OCD perfectionism, mostly in video games. I don't deal with this problem. Well, to be honest, I do deal with this problem in real life. Now that I think about it, like when I used to have to hand wash dishes, I have a dishwasher. But in the past, when I used to have to hand wash dishes, I would hand wash dishes over and over again until it felt just right. Even if it was clean, I had to hand wash a dish over and over again until it felt just right, until it felt complete, until it felt perfect. It was ridiculous. Hand washing, washing hands. Even when I took showers in the past, I would have to over wash my body over and over and over again until it felt just right, until it felt complete and perfect. I have to fucking, what's some other shit I have to do? I have to constantly check the oven. Is it turned off? Is it turned off? Check the door. Is it locked? Is it locked? You know? Or there's certain fears I had here and there, like, oh, like this, like sometimes, oh, the scissor, like sometimes, here's another example, like there would be a pair of scissors that was maybe half hanging on the table. I would have to push it forward because what if it falls and somebody, you know, steps on it? So I'd have to like push it forward, you know? That's one of them. And then another one would be like, and I don't know, just little things like that. You know, over washing dishes when I used to have to do it. Just way too much. Fucking washing my hands constantly. Fucking, what else? What are some other ones? Like I said, taking a shower and doing it overboard, you know. It was also bad with watching even like anime. Like I remember when I was, you know, checking out the Dragon Ball series for the first time. It was really bad with Dragon Ball. Like I remember certain episodes I would watch of Dragon Ball, I would rewind a scene over and over and over and over again until it felt just right, until it felt complete, until it felt perfect. You know, there were certain scenes where I had to rewind it over and over again until it felt just right, until it felt perfect. It was ridiculous. Like sometimes with certain Dragon Ball episodes, like if there's multiple characters on screen talking, or there's a big roster of people talking, I would have to make sure that I looked at every single character as they were talking. Or if I'm looking at one character as they're talking, but I'm not seeing the other's reactions, I have to rewind the clip to make sure I perfectly see everybody on the screen. It was fucking ridiculous. So yeah, it's not just video games. I thought it was at the beginning of this video, but it's not just video games. It was other factors in real life, you know? I'm trying to give some other compulsions and problems I had with OCD perfectionism. I would say even talking, like certain videos I make, certain video, like years ago on YouTube, I didn't really repeat myself. But I would say that's another problem with my OCD perfectionism is constantly having to repeat myself. That's another thing I deal with. Constantly having to repeat myself over and over again until it feels just right, until it feels complete. That's another thing I struggle with the OCD perfectionism. I have OCD in general, but OCD perfectionism was specifically talking about. But I would have to repeat myself constantly in certain videos until it felt just right. So that happens with videos. I'm trying to get some other examples where it happens. Oh yeah, whenever I apologize to people, I have to do it more than once. Like if I'm apologizing to someone about something, I have to do it more than once, because if I only do it once, it doesn't feel just right. It doesn't feel complete. So even like apologizing to some people, I have to apologize multiple times until it feels just right, until it feels complete, until it feels perfect. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely maddening. It's ridiculous. From gaming to watching Dragon Ball to hand washing dishes to taking a shower to making sure the oven's turned off to the door needing to be locked, maybe pushing scissors or something dangerous that is kind of half hanging off the table. That what if somebody steps on that? Let me push it forward, so it's safe. New account this. Read everything in the menu. Games have to be in a certain order. I have to repeat myself multiple times till it feels just right. If I'm apologizing to someone, I have to do it more than once. Like in general, like I don't. There's things I'm missing, but I don't want this video to go on any longer. I don't want to get into the habit of repeating even more. But yeah, this is just me basically venting about my struggles with OCD perfectionism. This is something I struggle with, and I just wanted to talk about it because someone I talked to said it'd be a good idea to vent about this, and fuck it, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, that's all this video was. I hope I got every. You know what? No, I don't hope I got everything, because I don't. There's certain videos I try to watch about OCD perfectionism for help. I don't know. I just need to maybe do certain things to combat it, like do uncertain things, like all right. Here's some examples. Instead of checking if the oven is off, don't check if the oven is off. If I think the door is not locked, don't even check if the door isn't locked. Or if there's a pair of scissors or something on a table and it's half off, don't push it forward. Or like the new account thing, right? Make a new account, but don't play games in order. Don't read everything in the menu. If games are just out of order than trophies, then do that more often. If I don't repeat myself enough, then just welcome that. Like I'm gonna have to do basically the opposite, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna try to see what I can do with that. But yeah, that's really all I have to say in this video. My struggles with OCD perfectionism. It really sucks, honestly, and glad I could talk about it here.